Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams.
Where we scream so you don't scream.
We're your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this week, death is all around us in The Monkey.
Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and click the bell to be notified when we post new episodes.
Let's dive in and see just how scary The Monkey is on a scale of 1 to 13. The Monkey is a 2025 American dark comedy horror film written and directed by Osgood Perkins. Based on Stephen King's 1980 short story, the film stars Theo James in a dual role as twin brothers whose lives are turned upside down by a cursed toy monkey that causes random horrific deaths around them. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 70% with a critical consensus that states, "The Monkey reaffirms director Osgood Perkins' horror bona fides while revealing he also has a surprising, albeit sick, sense of humor." It also has a 55% audience score that states, "More fun than a barrel of horror, The Monkey still delivers its gore it promises through a predictable and somewhat enjoyable story." For our ratings, we will discuss 4 aspects of the movie and score it from 0 to 3 for each. These individual rankings will be added to make our final scary rating. To kick us off, Stephanie, what did you give Plot?
I gave it a 2. While not original in style or meaning, I still think a Final Destination death movie is typically a fun time. There's a nice balance of humor, so you never have to worry about it taking itself too seriously. And even though we've seen plenty of hereditary-type family dramas, I like the monkey's symbolism of passing down a curse or trauma to the next generation. It was also just a lighter touch on the subject compared to all these very serious movies we've seen, even with all the gory deaths. How about you?
I gave it a 2 as well. I said the randomness of the cursed monkey and the ensuing chaos after he beats his drum definitely adds scariness to the plot. However, the comedic tone throughout tends to undercut that tension, which makes the overall scariness less impactful for me. I felt the movie started off strong, the backstory of the brothers with solid pacing, but it lost some momentum in the middle. The ending somewhat flies off the handles for me with the unneeded character of Thrasher and then the destruction of the town we see. But I still found it to be a solid time that still offered some scares.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny how it was all very end of the world by the time the end came. Even Death was walking through town, not sure what to do with all of this.
Let's go dancing.
I think it was Hal, and then Bill, I think, even mentions it too. A man on a white horse and his name is Death or something. That was some sort of saying.
Yeah.
And then he sees him while he's waiting at a traffic light, just riding his horse. And he's just like, I don't know, man.
I was surprised at how funny this movie actually was.
Yes. I loved the preacher.
He's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that is why I am not in the healthcare services or funeral arrangements, because I would definitely go out in that kind of situation and be like, well, here we are.
Oh, fuck. Today we're here with Annie Wilkes. Gone by accident. Or rather, in an accident. Because, there's no accidents.
Fuck.
Oh, fuck. And then also I don't know, was he the store manager, that kid? He looked like a teenager. He's like, oh shit, man, that sucks. And he says that after everything.
Yes, even his own death. He's like, oh shit.
That sucks.
Shit, man, that sucks. Shit, man, that sucks.
Shit, man, that sucks.
I was going in thinking it was maybe just a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I feel like this was comedy with horror aspects, not a horror comedy.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, you felt the same way?
Yeah, because even when the uncle died, and this is a terrible death, he was trampled by wild horses while running. They said when they opened the autopsy bag, it looked like it was just the cherry pie filling or something. And I laughed. I was like, oh, that's terrible, but is what it looks like.
Stephanie, how could you laugh at that? Disgusting.
Yes, I know. Shameful.
The one part that I laughed out loud, it was when our main character Hal was already an adult and he was taking his son to the aunt and uncle's house, and the earlier in the movie, he mentions to his son that he's like, I don't have a brother, because he does not want to talk about his family with his son at all. And then the officer's like, oh, yeah, your brother was here. You know, the brother that you have. What's his name? Your brother?
Jesus Christ. Hey there. Sorry.
Your brother Bill Shelbourne said you'd be coming. That brother Bill of yours is quite the character.
Yeah.
Your brother Bill, I mean.
Yes. He's quite the character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, your brother talked to me.
And then the son was like, he never told me he had a brother. I'm his son, and he never tells me anything. And just gave the officer, or no, the realtor, all of the family tea.
Oh, the realtor. Yeah, sorry. Did I say officer? That lady,
either
whoever
way.
she was, yeah.
I think it was Barbara, the realtor. But
Yes, that's okay. Apologies. The dialogue is so unrealistic in moments.
oh, even she had a funny bit too. Like, she was showing him around the house because he's looking for the monkey, but he's also like pretending to like look for any treasured items left over from his aunt. And she was like, she made some sort of pass at him, like, you're so attractive or something. And then she like caught herself and she was like, watch out, I'm gonna get you. And then she just dies. Like,
How we doing with that key?
Oh, don't you worry your pretty little head. Oh, mercy, did I say that out loud?
Watch out. You are pretty, though.
You know what? I actually think we should
Looks
go
like
down.
I did my own
wait
little
a minute.
process of elimination.
Ma'am, don't do that. How did you feel about the intro? Because the first 30 to 40 minutes, we see our character as kids, and then we jump to present day or future. How did you like kind of splitting it up like that?
I didn't mind it, the transition to it all. I didn't think they looked that much alike as children. So then when I found out they were played by the same actor as adults, I was like, oh, I guess if you want to. I don't know. They looked more like fraternal twins to me, at least as children. But I didn't mind the breakup of like seeing, how they got it, what happened to them as children, and how, it progressed as they got older. I feel like we kind of like skipped a little bit too much maybe in between them being kids and them being adults, because like we realized that Bill knows who Petey is, but they haven't talked in like 10 years. So kind of like, I guess, to see a little bit more of how they proceeded on after all of the family deaths that befall them. But I guess it just got worse from there.
Yeah. Okay, I was just curious. Also, real quick, the actor who played Hal and Bill, that was the same kid, even though they don't.
Really?
That was the same kid.
Oh.
I had the same thought, though, too.
Maybe I have face blindness in that situation, but they did not look like the same child to me.
Yeah, they were. I paused it, actually, because I had the same exact thought. I'm like, you made them too different, because I get the point, because Hal was kind of the quiet, dare I say, nerdy one, and then Bill was just an asshole, let's just say it. He was kind of a jerk. But the reason I asked about splitting it up like that is I actually found the part with the children way scarier and more traditional horror. There was like funny parts that we talked about, but I almost liked how the kids were dealing with it. Then we jumped to this story about they're grown up and now Hal's dealing with his kid that he doesn't really want to see. Well, not that he doesn't want to see him, but because of everything.
They're so estranged because he's so afraid of involving him in it.
Yeah, and when I mentioned in my plot statement, I felt like it in the middle, it just slowed down, and I got, not that I was bored per se, but I'm like, where are we going with this? All of a sudden, we're dealing with this kid storyline.
Yeah. I don't know. I just wondered how much further they could actually go with them as kids, because the dynamic was already like so set into place with Bill like hating him before any of these tragic deaths really happened. And then like it just gets worse because he blames them for the death of his mom, or their mom, but he says his mom at one point. And I don't know. I just didn't know how much further they could go with just them being mean to each other and trying to avoid the monkey. So while it did seem like they kind of cut to a different story by the time they did the character jump, I wasn't sure how they could proceed.
Right. Because I was thinking about it. I feel like this would have been a really good hour-long TV episode or something.
Oh, yeah.
Dealing with just the kids. I liked the whole movie as a whole. I was just like really invested, like right off the bat with Kid's storyline, and it just kind of fell off for me. And I got reinvested towards the end. I was just curious your thoughts, because I almost feel that they could have interspliced the child storyline with the current storyline instead of giving it all right off the bat. I feel that would have maybe made it more intriguing, but that's just a minor, I guess, complaint about it. I didn't know what your thoughts were about it.
Yeah, I guess I liked getting the information. Also, I think if they would have just focused on them as kids and just kept it that way, then it wouldn't have gone to the whole family generational aspect, though, because we wouldn't know what happened when they had kids, because it's just them as kids. I was actually watching Amanda the Jedi's video on this, and she pointed out that the director was actually taking some of his own experiences with his family. I guess his father died closeted, and his mother died in the 9/11 plane crashes. So it like he just had this whole death following him situation as well. So I don't know. I think that gives it a little bit more meaning for what happens in the story, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to mention just the scariest scene for me was the mom's death.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
That was so tragic and freaky. I'm like, what is happening to her?
I feel like it was one of the only like natural deaths, because, you know, like even though an aneurysm of that proportion isn't common, it's still more typical to happen than, you know, all of these weird scenario deaths that are more like Final Destination, like accidents.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely very disturbing, and like the way, like the slow turnaround and then the reveal of all the blood gushing out of her face, and the fact that she haunts Tal in a way. Well, he feels guilty.
Yeah,
but
in his dream, because that's why he sees her in his dreams, right?
Yes, like she's leaning over him with all the blood dripping out of her face, and that's the one truly creepy scene.
Yeah, I feel like all the other deaths are played for laughs for the most part, but that one really was probably the scariest one for me.
The only other one I could think of, it wasn't a death though, it was just surprising, was that when they're looking out on the porch after they've moved to the aunt and uncle's house, and then they see the monkey kind of like sitting out on the porch waiting for him. I was like, oh, hello.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking when thinking back to the kids part being a little scarier, is just the fact this monkey just keeps showing up.
Yeah.
Even though, not to mention, Hal hacks him up into pieces and it bleeds and it just comes back.
And the fact that like its mouth opens so wide, I don't know. Like before it starts playing, like its lips rise. It's so weird. It looks like it's going to talk to you.
What did you have for suspense?
I gave it a 1. I feel like the only time I was really worried was when Hal had to look out for Petey, but otherwise you know that the monkey is attached to this family and death is soon to follow. Plus, most of the kills were just fodder to prove the point of the monkey's power, so we didn't get a lot of time to get attached to anyone in particular. So the deaths weren't hard to get through or devastating afterwards going on without that character. I think the only one that was a little disappointing was the mom, as it clearly haunts Hal and is the whole reason Bill is using the monkey present day. How about you?
I also gave it a 1. I said there are a few suspenseful moments, particularly when the monkey returns and kills Aunt Ida, but the randomness of the monkey's targets made it hard for me to invest in any character. Instead of being on edge, I found myself having more of a, well, let's see what happens kind of mindset. The kills themselves are rather abrupt instead of being drawn out, which removed any buildup and tension that typically heightens the suspense.
Yeah, pretty much. The only one I can think of that had like a little bit more of a buildup was Aunt Ida's, just because it takes a little bit longer, and the shopkeeper at the pawn shop in the very beginning. Like you can see like a mouse like chewing a rope that's holding this arrow back.
I don't feel especially fucked to help.
Why? But but it does.
I hate to compare this to Final Destination, which we already kind of did, but the kills are much more fast-paced, and just explosion. Bodies exploding. Like, even when the one girl at the hotel jumped into the water and it was electrified and her body explodes.
Yes. Just everywhere.
I feel like that's not correct.
No. I was like, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but explosion was not on my list.
If I know a character is next, or they're the next one to die, that makes it more suspenseful. But because everything's so random, you're like, well, I can't be invested in, who might get it next. I'm like, well, whoever gets it. I don't know.
Right, and it is so random with how it chooses. Like, it's not like Final Destination in the way of, like, you could figure out the order or anything. It's just, like, whoever he feels like. So even, like, Hal and Petey, like, they're our main characters, and maybe Bill, I guess, to some point. I was like, it could be anybody, so who's to say they don't get killed? Even when Bill gets killed at the end, I was like, oh, yeah, that explains it. The monkey was mad at him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll get to that when we get to villain. Oh, my God.
Even their poor babysitter.
Babysitter. What's her name? Anne?
I think they just called her Anne the babysitter.
Yeah, they just said babysitter Anne or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I'm like, she didn't deserve anything.
Right. And I was telling Charlie about it because I was like, I just can't believe what happened, because it was so funny afterwards, because that's when the preacher comes out at her funeral and it's like, fuck. So I was telling him about it, and I was like, and the babysitter, she gets beheaded at the hibachi, and he's like, she got beheaded at hibachi? And I'm like, yeah. I don't know how, but it did.
Right.
It happened.
The chef like kind of swings his knife in her general direction, and next thing you know, her head is off.
Yes.
I feel like you were not close enough to do that, sir.
And the knife was really thick. I don't know. I just feel like you would have seen it make contact, but apparently it got all the way through her neck without anyone noticing.
Right. Who knows? I'm not going to pretend to understand how knives work. That sounds really dumb now that I say that out loud. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know. The logistics of a quick beheading.
What did you give Atmosphere?
I gave Atmosphere a 1. I said, finally a movie that isn't constantly in one place. We have a nice variety of environments to experience the monkey's creativity with death, from a hibachi restaurant, a pawn shop, a seedy motel, and a few interesting situations in houses. Location isn't the main focus, it's more or less wherever Hal goes, but it does add to the possibility of anything happening.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, how about you?
I also gave it a 1. I didn't really mention all the locations, but I did say the atmosphere and setting didn't do much to elevate the scariness of the plot. While I'll give it some credit for the eerie vibes of the dilapidated abandoned house in the finale of the movie, it wasn't quite enough to add a ton to the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just the more I thought about like the interestingness of the situational deaths, like at the hibachi restaurant and the pawn shop and stuff like that. And even at Bill's house at the end, I was like, was that even a house? Like, I had to look it up. I was like, was Bill in his house? Because it looked like some weird, like, Home Alone style factory.
I looked it up too, but everywhere I looked, it just said house.
Yeah, I was like, are we sure?
I'm not, because it didn't it have a sign in the back, in the
It
front
felt like
too?
a storefront of some sort, like an abandoned factory kind of thing. But
yeah, house apparently.
Everyone
That's
says
what it
house.
is. Right.
Yeah, otherwise it didn't really matter, because like the monkey could kill in like the most mundane place. So had to give it a little credit for like the change in scenery.
I know. I feel like we cover a lot of movies that are like at the house or in the woods, and they don't go anywhere.
Yes.
So at least this, you have a little bit of a road trip vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I'll take the change. What did you give for villain?
I gave villain a 2. I go back and forth on this one, as you have to either consider the monkey as either a generational trauma of like representation or a cursed object. Obviously, neither would be a great experience, so I gave it a 2, because if it's a family thing, then as long as you're not in that family, you're good. But if this was a real cursed object that can't be bartered with, then the possibility of you being killed off randomly skyrockets. How about you?
So we are on the same page, because I also gave it a 2. However, I looked at it a little bit differently. I said,
okay.
When it comes to villain, I saw Bill as the antagonist, ultimately, with the monkey functioning more as his tool. His intentions are wildly outlandish and don't make a ton of sense. However, that's kind of the point. Bill clearly has a lot of trauma to deal with. He's less traditionally scary and more unsettling in a you can't reason with insanity kind of way. And I will admit, I did have some sympathy for him, even though he's kind of a piece of shit. to be fair, Hal did try to kill him as a kid, so I could
Yeah.
see why he has a grudge, but it truly would have been so much easier to just stab him himself.
It's because of you that deadbeat Bill did this to me. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? That asshole kid who lives in here with me. I wish Bill was dead.
Truly, yeah.
I looked at it from Bill being the villain at the
Okay.
end, and he's using this monkey to kill Hal.
Yeah.
Why?
Which is always random, too. So he was playing with it, I think he said, for over a week, trying to get it to kill Hal
Mm-hmm.
at the point that Hal actually found him.
Yeah, and everyone else but Hal died.
Yeah. Yeah. The monkey loved Hal.
It doesn't make sense. Like, you could just find him and do it yourself. Unless you don't want the blood on your hands yourself.
I guess, but I feel like somebody this unhinged, wouldn't take that into consideration.
That's what
when
that's what
he
I'm
didn't
saying.
even realize that that Hal and him were brothers. In the end, he was like, "You killed my mom," and he's like, "Yeah, I understand how you feel. She was my mom too." And he's like, "Oh yeah."
Because you killed my mom. I know you wanted to kill me. Listen, Bill. I'm sorry your mom died. It fucking sucks. I know how you feel. She was my mom, too. Oh, yeah. I guess you would. Never thought about it like that. Makes sense, though, We're brothers. Twins. Right?
And then that little interaction at the end was enough for Bill to come around. And then he just dies. I'm like, oh.
Right.
Man.
Well, the monkey was mad at him because he tried to force his hand. Because he's holding the monkey and he's trying to force the drumstick down in his hand to make, because whenever it hits the drum, that's when a death happens. So, and the monkey doesn't like that.
And then the monkey bangs the drum over and over and kills, again, everyone but
The
Hal.
whole town.
The whole town, and not Hal.
Yes.
Bill. So your plan is so flawed.
Yeah.
It was like, what?
Bill was not the smartest.
It made no sense, but again, he kind of almost worshipped the monkey in a weird way.
At one point, he was talking to it as if you were the true decider of who lives and who dies and stuff like that.
Wisdom, I trust your flaming sword of righteousness will cut the foul air and strike the right person, and only the right person.
Then all of a sudden, he's just like, well, forget that. Let's get to Hal already.
And the monkey's like, mm-mm.
I had to keep on going back, even though Bill is kind of pushing it along, obviously when his father was so desperate to give it up, that something was happening with the dad to make him turn the key, or somebody else around him was turning the key or something like that. Maybe just he kept on accidentally leaving it out, or it would be out in places where people would turn it. And that's why it was happening around him. So I don't know. I feel like you also have to blame the monkey as an object itself.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. However, I don't know if it's just unclear for me, but if you never turn the key,
Yeah.
is it gonna cause an issue? If you just don't touch it, don't turn the key, is anyone gonna die?
Right.
Or will it randomly do it itself?
Bill had this whole backstory where he was talking about how he found the key. So he was just looking for the monkey for a long time. And that's how Thrasher gets involved. He goes to the estate sale where his dead aunt had this in her lawn, which I guess he could have just gone to his aunt's house. He lived in the town and everything and asked for it, but okay.
I didn't even mention Thrasher. I had a note that he was so insignificant.
Yeah.
Why is he here? But anyways, I digress.
At one point, I was like, the police officer, he has a flashback to a police officer, and apparently that's his father when he looks at the monkey. And he's like, the monkey reminds me of my dad. And I'm like, is Thrasher's dad the same dad as Bill and Howl's? I had complete face blindness for everyone I saw in this movie. They could have all been the same person or 70 different people.
I thought that too for a second, because he was also wearing a uniform, because the dad is a pilot, I think.
Yes.
So
they were both wearing Navy uniforms.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, is this a half brother or something they don't know about? No, it doesn't matter.
This man he cut him out completely. He served no purpose. I hate to use this analogy, but does a gun kill people? I know we talked about this before. Or do people kill people? And I feel like the monkey's the gun in this scenario.
For sure, if you definitely think of Bill as then the antagonist. But then also, again, you have to wonder, is the monkey really real? You know? Like, or is it just symbolism?
That's a good question, and I do not have an answer for you.
Just wondering, too, because that's why I went back and forth on, like, whether or not, like, is the monkey really the villain? Is it, like, should I give it a full 3 because of the unpredictability of it all? Yeah. But then if it's not real, then, it's just a family issue.
It's a pretty bad family issue.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I said neither are good, but...
Yeah. Did you give the movie your extra special point?
I did. I gave this my extra special point since I was fully invested in how they would resolve this. And I also love how they didn't make a big deal of researching the monkey's origin or why it was attracted to them. Some movies like really want to go into like the whole backstory and everything. And then I feel like it just really waters down when you explain every aspect to the audience. Mm-hmm. So I like that we kind of didn't do that, and it was refreshing in this way because it just existed and it was dangerous, and that's all you needed to know.
Oh, yeah.
How about you?
I gave it my point as well. I said I had a lot of spooky fun with this movie. The kills are silly. It's still very gory. Just know going in that I view it as equal parts comedy and horror. It is way funnier and silly than I anticipated.
Yeah, it's kind of like Thanksgiving levels of silliness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I would say even sillier, to be honest.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, because there are far more jokes, but still just goofy and all the deaths and stuff, too. But
It was a good time. I liked it overall.
Me too.
Totaling everything up, we both gave it a 7. We were literally gave everything the exact same score, and we didn't even read each other's things, so.
I promise you, Scout's honor.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like. And of course, you could leave us a comment and let us know what you'd like us to cover next.
You can find us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.